Wow, I can't say third anymore. What is happening to me? Hello lovely bookworms, I'm Esmay from Paradise of Pages on Instagram, and welcome to a new video. In today's video, I'm going to be talking to you guys about the books that I want to read in September, but also October, and also November, so just stay tuned. I'll talk about everything, so without further ado, let's get into it. Okay, so explanation time. 6 friends in total, including myself, have decided to do a readathon in September, October and November. We all get to pick 2 prompts, so 2 challenges, and that would be a total of 12 books. And I already wanted to share with you all the books that I want to read in these 3 months. I'm not sure if I can fit them all into 1 month, but I am positive and excited to read all of them. Hopefully I'll be able to, but we'll see that at the end of November when I do a wrap up of all the books that I did, but also the wrap up at the end of this month and the end of October. Okay, so I think it is time to start with the books I actually want to read. And the first one I think was a challenge by Amber, and she said read a book that is situated in or about Russia. So I decided to read Romanov, which you can now see hopefully on my left side. If not, it's on my right side. And I think this is heavily inspired by Russia, obviously, because it's the Romanov family. Other than that, I don't know too much about it, apart from the fact that I think the cover is beautiful. Not the best reason to read a book, but we'll see what I think about it, and hopefully I'll be enjoying this a lot. The second challenge was actually set by Jessie, another friend of mine, and she says read a book that gives you fall vibes. Okay, so this was pretty broad because it could be something that is completely about fall, but also that just gives you the fall, nice, candle-lit, cozy feelings, if you know what I'm getting at. And I went with that approach because I couldn't find a book that I wanted to read and was also really about autumn. So I thought I'll go with the fall vibes for this one. And the book that I've picked for this is The Kingdom of Copper by S.A. Chakraborty. I think that the kingdom that this is situated in is not necessarily very autumn-y. It's more of an Arabian Night kind of a feel, but I think that always gives me the nice candlelit feelings. Also, what I really love in autumn is just a book that is dense. This is dense. And also that gives me all the right feels on the inside. And I think this one will definitely do that because the first book gave me that vibe as well. And I also have to say that I'm super excited to read this, so I may do. I know that is horrible. Also, Amber, if you're watching this, I'm so sorry I took off Ember and Dusk because I was supposed to read that one. And she was obviously very excited about that. But sorry. So, The Kingdom of Copper. Wow, I can't say third anymore. What is happening to me? The third challenge, I said it right. Woohoo. The third challenge is actually set by Jessie, and that one says read a book that is slightly spooky, or just spooky in general. And for this one, I chose A Tunnel of Bones. I read the first book last year and really enjoyed it, more than I thought I would, and that one was definitely spooky. Besides, the title Tunnel of Bones already tells you that it's gonna be pretty spooky, right? At least I thought so. So that's what I'm reading for challenge number 3. Alright, on to challenge number 4. I think this one was set by Femke, and that one says read a book that is very beautiful to you. Obviously, there are a lot of picks for this. I could have obviously chosen The Kingdom of Copper as well, but I didn't. I chose Kingsbane by Claire Legrand. I think it is absolutely stunning. I love the color red on books a lot. And also, what I have to say is that I'm very excited to read this book, which makes it even more beautiful. I think a book could be beautiful on the outside, but also the inside. And I think that this one will be just as beautiful on the inside as on the outside, so I decided to read Kingsbane. The next challenge was set by Amber, and she says read a book that was published in 2019. There are a lot of books that have been published this year that I want to read. Literally the 2 that are right behind me could have been picked, another one that's in this list could have been picked, but I didn't. I chose one that I was very, very excited about ever since I read the first book, and that is Vow of Thieves by Mary E. Pearson. I'm just so excited about this book. If you know me, you know I love Dance of Thieves. I love everything that Mary E. Pearson has written and I've read, which is the Kiss of Deceptions trilogy. If you need a good recommendation, read the Kiss of Deception. Okay, getting back to this book. It was published this year and I'm very excited about it. It was actually published recently and I want to dive in head first. The next book is actually my first challenge and very opposite the one before this one, and that is read a book that has been on your TBR for a very long time. The reason why I picked this challenge is because there's always a few books that will just keep on being on your TBR and you want to read them but you never get to them. And for this challenge I've chosen a book that is also on my shelves. The reason for this is that I've had this for I think a year or two, maybe even longer, because it was a birthday present from another friend of mine, and that is Heartless by Marissa Meyer. I've heard quite a few things about this, good and bad actually, but I've had it since forever, since I was still really collecting paperbacks, and I thought it was high time to pick this one up and read it. It's also really nice because it's a standalone. You could just read it in between the other books here, and hopefully I'll be enjoying this. The next challenge is actually by Jadine, and I've cheated this one a little bit, I have to say. She said, read a book, a children's book that you still really enjoy. This one was really difficult because the only thing I could think about was Harry Potter, but spoiler alert, that one's already on this list. So I had to pick something else. So I actually asked Eugene, hey, is it okay if I pick a new release children's book that is coming out and I'm pretty sure I will enjoy? So that was okay. So that's what I did. The book that I've chosen for this challenge is Ember and the Ice Dragon by, I believe, Heather Fawcett. I loved her duology and I thought, you know, this really seems like something I will really enjoy. So I thought, you know, I'll pick this one. So Ember and the Ice Dragon. The next challenge is one that I came up with. For me, it's not that difficult. For another, it could be very difficult. The thing that I came up with is read a book that starts with the first letter of your name. For this challenge, I decided to read an arc that I've just received, and that is Emergence by Gaia J. Koss and Boris Koss. As you can see, it starts with a nice little E, as does my name. So I decided to read this one. I loved Evenfall, which is another book that I could have read. And I absolutely want to read this one. Oh, I see a squirrel. I feel like Doug. Okay, getting back to things. So I decided that I will be reading Emergence, and look how stunning this is. Okay, so the next challenge and book also are something that is quite far from what I usually read. This was a challenge set by Marta, and she decided that you have to read a book that is like inspired or is in Ireland. And that for me is even more difficult than Russia. Also, I didn't really get to pick anything fantasy, which for me is something really out of my comfort zone. So I am deciding to read The Accident Season. I think what this book is truly about is about, I think, tragedy and people are dying and then there's a mystery in there. At least that's what I got from the synopsis. We all know I'm very bad at explaining books, so sorry about that. And I just thought it would be a nice book in between all the other ones. The next challenge was also set by Marta, and that one I especially also like the wording of. It is read a daunting classic that you're finally ready to conquer. We all know that I rarely read classics, and this one is even more daunting than the read a book about Ireland, but I came up with something, and I personally think that it really fits, and that is Dracula by Bram Stoker. The reason why I picked this is because Femke and I actually went to Romania, as you probably know by now. If not, there are 8 Romania vlogs that you can enjoy. They're gems, I promise. And I thought, you know what, I'm gonna read Dracula. Actually, the true story behind Dracula is pretty different from what Bram Stoker actually says, because he turns him into a vampire, and the real Dracula, or as they call him, Vlad Tepes, was obviously not a vampire. If I have to read a classic, I thought, why not pick that one? The next challenge, and semi to last already, is one that was picked by Jadine, and Jadine said, read a book that was published or written in the year that you were born. I think I already mentioned that Harry Potter is on here, and obviously Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone is in this list because it is published in 1997, which is the year that this girl was born. So I'm very excited to be rereading this, especially now considering it's September and we're all going back to Hogwarts again, and I'm ready to dive into this. I actually want to reread every book in this series, and I might also do that in the next couple of months, but these will be read too, I promise. There's actually no more room for the last book, but that is fine, I'll just put it down below. And that is a challenge that was set by Femke, and she says, read a collection of short stories. So, we all know I'm not the type for short stories or poetry. I sometimes enjoy poetry, but not all the time. So I asked, could it be a reread? Considering Harry Potter is also a reread, this book is also a reread. And it's fantasy, and I've read it twice already, but I enjoy it so much. And that is The Language of Thorns by Leigh Bardugo. It's just stunning, love the illustrations, and I'm excited to be diving back into this world and the tiny little stories that it holds. So these were actually all 12 books that I wanted to read for this challenge. I don't think I can put all of these, especially the bigger ones that are on my right, into 1 month, but I'm gonna try and read them all over the course of these 3 months. I think 12 books in 3 months is very doable for me right now, and I'll probably be adding more books to them anyway. I'll update you on how everything goes in my reading vlogs, which I've been picking up again, and also mention them in wrap-ups. I'm not sure yet what I'll do with the TBRs. You'll just have to look at my reading vlogs to see, because I'm not sure if I'll be making those. We'll see. We'll see how it all goes. But those are all the books that I'm reading for this readathon that I've planned out with my friends. I'm very excited. I want to thank you for watching. Please subscribe to our channel and press that little bell icon so you get post notifications every single time that we post. Give us a like, and I will see you guys the next time. Bye!